Yeah, I might need one of these. I look damn good at a two-piece. Oh, yeah, that's right. Actually, I always start with a little bit of a random thought for the night. My random thought for the night is actually, there's BET, Black Entertainment Television, but we can't have white entertainment television because that's like racist. Besides, it's already taken anyway by a porn channel with the acronym WET. It's delicious, believe me, go to that channel. Anyway, every group of friends is blessed with that one friend that nobody knows why they're there, but they're still there anyway. Our group was blessed with two. We got that one friend that always has that story that has to outdo you. You'd be like, well, I went for a hike today and I saw some beautiful wildlife. And he'd say, yeah, well, I climbed a water tower and put a Dodge flag on top. Well, anyway, the stories get worse and worse. He's always like, well, when I was up there, I saw there was a crop duster flying around, so I grabbed that 20 feet of rope I keep in my pocket, and I lassoed it. And then I climbed up the plane, and then when I was up there, I realized China was in trouble, so I threw the knife at the rope. And I flew to China, and I saved the day. And then when I got done with that, I realized that my mom had dinner done, so I went home. Well, you got the other friend that makes about as much sense as a Liz Phair song. Thank God there's a few people who still know who Liz Phair is. I told that joke last week and everyone goes, huh? Anyway, this guy, we were in a college party a few years ago, I'm sorry. And he's trying to run away from the cops. The cops show up, right? And he's trying to run away. They catch him, and he might have gotten away with the fact that, trying to tell him that he wasn't drinking, except for the fact that he had 2 beer bottles pointed down at his crotch. Giving him the obvious, giving him the funny appearance that he peed himself, and I still laugh to the day. But then, when he tried to tell him his name, he gave him a name that anybody else in the world might have gotten away with but Kewanee Police Department, which was Gert B. Frobe. I think the Kewanee Police Department had seen Joe Dirt. So, anyway, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I gotta go on with this. We were about 13, and the kid gets in trouble for smoking cigarettes, okay? Instead of just admitting that he smoked cigarettes, he says, no, what you really see, what you really smelling, I had a friend of mine who was burning a building down, and he was smoking pot. So instead of just getting in trouble for smoking cigarettes, we got the police involved, looking for an arson suspect and a drug dealer. None of them existed. Actually, speaking of fire here, we had a fire at our house not too long ago. It burnt down the garage. And let me tell you, that's always fun with about a bucket of marshmallows and a half can of Frank's. But anyway, as we get done with that, we realize that we're stuck with the cleanup. And realizing that the dumpsters cost 1 arm and 1/2 leg, my dad comes up with this beautiful idea, let's bury the shit. So we're not out here with some shovels and pickaxes. He rents like a front loader, the kind that you bury everything with. So we start burying this stuff, and as he's digging these holes, my dog's looking over going, this is bullshit. I get in trouble for the little holes, and you guys are digging 5 feet holes? Well, anyway, after we get done doing that, we start burying everything in the backyard. We go to just lift up the concrete slab, and that kind of busts. So we're left with a whole bunch of it, and he comes up with idea number 2, let's bury that. So after he digs about 5 feet a hole for that, we end up burying that, and I end up having one of these Scrubs moments. Anybody ever seen that show? Where I slip off into about 100 years into the future, and this is how the conversation goes. Oh, crikey! There must have been one hell of an earthquake here. I see bits of buildings here all over the place. And then there's they must have been building a satellite book in the backyard. I don't know why they speak with an Australian accent, but that's how that comes out with me. So, now that I've done pissed off blacks and Australians, let's see what else I can piss off here. I get in trouble with my mouth a lot. I actually got in trouble with my mouth with my ex-wife, actually. She gets talking about how I never listen or something like that. I wasn't paying attention. Well, anyway, this opens up the door for everything to come out. She goes, well, you know what? You never are home. I said, well, I'm at work. She goes, well, you never clean. I says, well, I'm never at home. She goes, you have a big wiener too. I says, well, you can tell whoever you want about that one. I was telling my sister this joke, and she's always the one, I always talk to her to tell her the jokes, because she'll tell me if it sucked or it was good. And I told her that joke, she goes, you know, that's a total fail. I says, I thought the joke wasn't that bad. She goes, no, I was talking about your marriage. But that's my time.